Yo, what's up, guys? Alex Baker here for Awesemo.com. New show we're calling the GPP Core, presented by Jock Market. We're going to be building 3 lineups real quick using a combination of our tools and the lineup builder on Awesemo.com. So, put together a short list of some stacks using our top stacks and some plays using our boom bust tools. So, I'm going to start off with the Chargers stack. They've been throwing the ball a ton. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen and Jared Cook. You could go with Mike Williams instead of Keenan. Both are great options. Patriots also throw a lot, so I think this could become a shootout. Jacoby Myers is their number one threat. Hasn't really scored a touchdown yet, but it'll happen. He had one called back 2 weeks ago. Last week held in the end zone. All right, Darrell Henderson versus the Texans. Can't get a better matchup than that. Game script should work out in their favor, even though it didn't really work out last week versus the Lions. That was kind of fluky. Eli Mitchell, that's another guy I'm targeting, getting a workhorse role in San Francisco. The matchup versus the Bears isn't amazing, but they are a favorite in this game, so that's nice. Let's go to a contrarian play, so Courtland Sutton. Teddy Bridgewater has had his on weeks and his off weeks. Sutton has also had the same. I guess that's tied together. So he's just a little expensive this week, and our ownership projection for him is only 2%. This is a guy I feel could win you a GPP single-handedly, for sure. Let's go to defense. So the Bengals defense versus Mike White. This is a very chalky pick, but the guy that's backing up a guy that's throwing a ton of picks, like this guy is most likely not going to be very good. So picking the defense, that's a no-brainer. And I got 5,800 left. Let's just throw in Brandon Cooks. A little correlation with this Rams game. And we got really high value ranking and a contrarian ranking, 30-40%. So that means we're not overly duplicated with other players or overlapped. So I think this is a pretty solid lineup. Let's go to the Carolina stack. Carolina, Sam Darnold had a really rough week last week, so I think people are going to be like, before they click him. But we got to take our shots because he's only 4.6% owned. DJ Moore, obviously, is their best player, but I'll throw in Robbie Anderson, too. He's been getting targets, just not doing a ton. And then I'm going to run it back with Calvin Ridley. This is a kind of chalky start to the stack because he's the most popular player on Atlanta, but I don't really want to go to the running backs with the timeshare, even though Cordero Patterson's been great. Kyle Pitts, very expensive at tight end this week, so I feel pretty confident with this. Because we have kind of a chalk start to the lineup, let's go to contrarian a little bit. Rashad Penny is someone I'm targeting just because he has 1% ownership. He had a pretty strong workload last week where he got more routes than Alex Collins. DJ Dallas basically wasn't in the rotation. Chris Carson is not coming back anytime soon, and that showed me that Rashad Penny, even though he's been injured a while, they really want him to be involved. So I think he's worth taking a shot on at that ownership. With Miles Sanders out, Kenneth Gainwell, he's in a spot to shine versus the Lions. Really good matchup. I don't think it's going to be a workhorse role by any means. Boston Scott's probably going to get a larger share of the rushing attempts, but Kenneth Gainwell should be able to get there as a combination of some rushing and receiving. Alright, so we got a lot of money for tight end. Let's go to Dallas Goedert. I think this is an obvious play with Zach Ertz traded. Last time Ertz was off the team, Goddard got a ton of runs, so that's gonna be pretty easy to fit in here. And now we gotta really spend up to complete this lineup. So let's see what Kamara is here. He had an amazing workload, so definitely someone that I'm gonna want to get in lineups this week. And then I got 3,500 left. Defense, I don't really feel like defense is a make or break situation by any means, but the Chargers defense versus Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a guy that he can throw some picks, so this could easily work out. Alright, so contrarian ranking 60th to 70th percentile. That means I went pretty contrarian with this one. Value only 50 to 60th percentile, so this is where maybe I'd want to make a tweak or two before entering this lineup just to get that value ranking up so I have more of an advantage in projection, but I think this is still a strong lineup. Alright, let's go with my fun stack of the week. Ben Roethlisberger every week is my favorite 1% guy, but we got to remember in the playoffs they went up against the Browns and were down ridiculous, and then he threw 6 touchdowns. That was a fun night. But the main thing I like about Roethlisberger is that he only gets points for throwing the ball. So if his receivers have a big game, that's pretty much the only way he gets there. So if I have those receivers in my lineup, it sets me up well. Alright, so I'm going to put in Johnson and Claypool. I don't feel the need to run this one back necessarily because Pittsburgh, they throw the ball a good amount when they're up or down. I guess Jarvis Landry is a reasonable run back, so you could consider that. Chubb, if we get word that he's healthy, I'm just a little bit worried they're rushing him back. So let's hold off on the game stack. Alright, so let's go with DeAndre Swift. He's been amazing. Just getting a ton of receiving production, and the matchup versus Philadelphia sets up as one that could have a lot of fantasy scoring. So, and then let's go back to Mitchell. I think that fits in nicely with our lineup, and I think he's kind of a plug and play this week. For wide receiver stud, let's go with Deebo Samuel. He's been ridiculous. Actually, now that we have Mitchell, maybe I'll take out Mitchell. Let's put in a different player just to balance that out a little bit. But Samuel has been fantastic. Since I am going so contrarian with my stack, I don't mind going a little chalk with my running backs. Henderson being the top spot of the week. I don't have much money left, so let's go with the football team defense. They're dirt cheap, facing Teddy Bridgewater, who's been a little iffy. I want to get a value tight end here, so Dan Arnold. I think he's been getting a good workload since he's been in Jacksonville. More importantly, he's cheap. And then I got 5,700 left. We could go back to Brandon Cooks. I don't really have anyone in this price range on my cheat sheet, so let's just kind of take a look around, plug in some different players. Alright, T. Higgins, 60-70% contrarian. I kind of knew the contrarian ranking on this one would be pretty high, given that we went to a stack that's not going to project the best. So, no surprises there. Alright, Myles Gaskin, 5,600. Waddle, 5,600. It looks like Brandon Cooks is probably going to end up in our lineup again here. Just fits that price the best. Got a 60 to 70th percentile value range and 50 to 60th percentile contrarian. One thing I'm going to be doing as well is checking out Jock Market. You basically buy shares of players, and I have projections for how much each guy is going to net when this all plays out. It's based on like how well they rank as far as total performances. So if I get Cooper Kupp for like less than $12, that's a win. So I'll be definitely checking them out. $50 bonus with the promo code Awesemo. Alright, let's make some lineups for the blue site. So, FanDuel, a little bit of a looser salary cap this week, so you can really get the star players in your lineup. I'm going to build a Rams stack since we didn't do one for DraftKings. They're our top stack of the week with a 25% chance of being the top scoring combination. So, even though they're projected as big favorites, it is a very pass-heavy team. So the hope is they put up enough in 3 quarters if Houston is not competitive, or that Houston is more competitive than we're expecting. Cup, he's the top wide receiver of the slate. You don't need me to tell you that. So you could go Woods, but I'm going to go Cup in this lineup. I'll mix it up elsewhere. Higbee's one of the tight ends I'm looking at. Aside from Goddard, there aren't a lot of top options this week. Higbee is actually showing as a really high leverage play in our simulation, 7% ownership and 12% chance in being the optimal lineup. I'll run it back with Brandon Cooks. 6K is just cheap, even though Davis Mills will be starting this week for Houston. Let's go to running back. Kamara's more expensive on DraftKings. He's much easier to get to on FanDuel at 8,400. The workload might take a little hit with Ingram coming back, but I mean, he's still Alvin Kamara. He got so many receptions last week versus a pass funnel with Tampa that could add up to some big performances. So see how that goes. We did spend up, so we need some value plays. I do want to mix in one contrarian option here, and Mike Davis. He actually played more than I realized from the box score last game because Cordarrelle Patterson. He actually was in as a wide receiver a decent amount. So Mike Davis and Cordarrelle were in the same plays a fair amount. So if Atlanta wins this game by a healthy margin, I think Mike Davis could be the guy that breaks the slate that no one's on. Obviously, people will be hesitant to click that name with Cordarrelle being the guy that's been going off recently. Wide receiver, let's go for a value play. Everyone's going to be looking at these Eagles in this matchup versus Detroit. Just a really weak pass defense, so Devonta Smith obviously makes a lot of sense. We could also consider a double tight end lineup with Goddard, but that does put us at a little disadvantage because I feel like Higbee's not as good at individual plays as he is a tight end filler. All right, let's put in a defense. So let's cross off the Rams because we have the stack. We want Houston to do okay some of the time. Let's go to Broncos versus Washington. Nothing against Taylor Heineke, but I mean, Washington is just a league average offense at best. So, and then we got one last play, 7,100. So let's just scroll and look at other options here. Cortland Sutton is exactly 7,100. That puts us in 20-30% contrarian ranking and 90% value ranking. So a little bit chalky, but as long as these add up to more than 100%, I'm good. All right, let's go to new lineup. Let's build this Jalen Hurts stack. He's going to be the chalk for a reason. I mean, matchup couldn't be better. He adds a lot on the ground, and on FanDuel 8,400 is not hard to get to. So I think we gotta go for. I don't want to get Devonta Smith and Goddard in this lineup because I feel like that's going to be too popular. We had Devonta Smith in our last lineup, so I don't mind going to Quez Watkins. His playing time has been higher week after week, so I definitely don't mind that. Now, Swift is going to be very common as a run back in these stacks, but he is a good overall play. Just getting a ton of receptions, and Philadelphia's defense isn't very good, so I think that completes our stack. We did go pretty high owned, so I'm going to want to get a couple of sleepers in. One guy I'm looking at is Jarvis Landry. Baker is supposed to be back for this one. I don't think that really makes a huge difference, but the more important thing is Landry. He was coming off the aisle last week, so he was taking a little bit of time to ramp up. He's not on the injury report this week, so I think that he's a safe play. The ownership's pretty low. And then let's go to Robbie Anderson. He's been getting targets. It hasn't amounted much, but that can change in a hurry. So I'm just doing that because we really need some low-owned plays to balance out the rest of our lineup here. I got 3 low-owned plays, so now I can go a little bit chalkier. We have a lot of money, so Kamara could fit in this lineup, but let's spend up on Cooper Kupp and see where that leaves us. Obviously, a fantastic option as a one-off in addition to the stack. And I don't even mind pairing the Rams stack with him. But yeah, let's do that. It doesn't really like have much impact on whether I play Cup or not if we have the Rams defense. I'm tempted to pivot here, but we can always work on these lineups later. So Chuba Hubbard 6,600. We have Robbie Anderson on the other side. That's not really a huge factor for me. Or same side. My bad. So I think this lineup ended up being a little bit chalky. So let's make a pivot here. Okay, Rams defense and Cup were just too popular. Let me spend up on defense. One of the sleepers I have are the Steelers. They have that matchup with Cleveland. Now that isn't the best pairing with Landry, but if Steelers get a defensive touchdown, then Cleveland, being a run-heavy team, should be throwing a decent amount. So I don't hate that. And then let's try getting Kamara in at the flex to see how that works. It looks like I could actually get Cup in at the flex too. 60 to 70% contrarian, 60-70% value. I do prefer Cup slightly, especially since we pivoted off the Rams defense. I didn't love that correlation. And then we got 50 to 60% contrarian, 70 to 80 value, so that's a very solid lineup. Let's do one more here. We got Seattle versus Jacksonville. Now, Seattle, Geno Smith looked horrible last game, but you have to factor in the winds are 15 to 20 miles an hour. Not nearly as much wind forecast this week, plus they have a cakewalk matchup versus the Jags. So not afraid to go to Geno, even though he is a replacement level player. We'll have the money to get Lockett and Metcalf in this lineup, and then we got a run back. Since no one's going to be really stacking up this game, I'm not really worried about ownership here. It looks like Chenault or Marvin Jones would be reasonable options, or we could go with the tight end Dan Arnold. We could actually get two of these guys if we wanted, but I'm not going to go overboard. Tight end's just a little bit tougher to fill this week, so I want to get that out of the way of my stack a lot of the time. All right, let's go to Chuba Hubbard again. I think he's a really solid value. I'll be looking at him in jock market because I don't think anyone's going to be buying in. We have him at projected $4.46 payout, so if I can get him for like $3, why not, right? I don't think anyone's going to be on the IPO. All right, let's go with Kamara. I mean, I think the reception upside is huge. Half-point PPR, but still, I like that. Let's put in our defense. Let's just hope the Rams run away with this one, and maybe we take out a lot of the field that has those offensive players. And we got 7K left per player, so let's go to Godwin. Without Antonio Brown most likely this week, he stands out as a good spot. And if Kamara has a big game, maybe Tampa will throw even more, giving Godwin upside. So we got one roster spot left, 6,900. Nice. All right. Keenan Allen. He's exactly 6,900. Got a matchup versus New England. I like that game as well because the Chargers have been passing a lot. New England's been passing a lot. And then I got contrarian ranking, 30 to 40%, value 80 to 90. So an above average lineup. I think with all of these we can make some tweaks, but they're pretty solid. And then if you go to this export, you can get them in CSV and upload them directly to the sites. So that's a pretty cool feature. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Let me know in the comments what you think of this new format with the GPP cores, and good luck this week.